A few years ago, I was starting at a new school working with kids with behavioral special needs. This was a very old school in a small town. The school itself is haunted, and across the street is the haunted library. According to the town legend, the school had a janitor hang himself in the third floor closet. Three young girls jumped to their death from the third floor, and a nun, it was formerly a Catholic school, murdered somewhere on a campus. The library was where town hangings used to take place. Besides library being the old hanging gallows, none of the other legends have proof. Though no proof, I have first-hand witnessed things that corroborate these legends. I grew up in this town hearing these tales for as long as I can remember. I had my first direct line to the school through my best friend's mom who worked there. She would tell us how they would have make sure to shut off all the lights at the end of the day before leaving. But every morning they came in the third floor janitor's closet light was on. This is supposedly where the janitor hanged himself. She told me she would walk the grounds in the evening for exercise before going home, usually without issues. One day, though, she had just clocked out and was making a small loop around the school when she saw a figure in a tree line ahead of her. She describes this as a woman in what looked like a habit or hobbit. She said she could not see her face but could make out the markings one would see on a nun. She quickly walked to her car and never saw that woman again. Now, on to my personal experience. I had finished a full day of working with some challenging teens and was wrapping up my paperwork. Being new to the behavioral school world, I tended to take longer than the most others' paperwork and was often the last one to leave. Many a night, it would be myself and my boss closing up the school. This particular evening, myself, another teacher, two doors down in the last classroom of the hall, and my boss were working late. We were all on the third floor as this is where behavioral teen classes were. Over the course of the day, I had accumulated some questions I needed to ask to my boss and was packing up, planning to head to her office. Just as I am trying to close up my bag, I see a woman walk by my classroom heading towards the end of the hallway. I figured it was my boss going to see my coworker who was that way. I thought this was perfect. I would get to talk to her and my coworker who happened to be my work bestie. I grabbed my stuff, shut off my lights, and locked up my classroom. I was surprised to hear silence when I reached the hallway. The walls were thin and my coworker's door was open, so I figured I would hear them chatting. I get to my coworker's class and she meets my gaze with the look of terror. I ask her what's wrong. She asked me if I saw her. I said, saw who? I asked. At this point, I had scanned the room and did not see any strange person or boss for that matter. My coworkers gets up and ushers me into the hallway facing the end where the window was. She points at the window and asks once again, "Did you see her?" Finally, after a moment, I put together what she was asking. "You mean Mary?" "Yes, I saw her walk this way towards you, but I never saw her leave." "Mary never came to my room?" "That wasn't her," my coworker says. My face must have looked perplexed as she decided to continue her explanation without my reply. "It was a young girl, a teen. She walked past my room, and as I ran out to see if it was a lost student, she went through the window." I quickly ran over to the window and tried to crank it open. This made no sense as being a behavioral school. All of our windows were nailed closed. There is no way someone could have gone out of that window. At this point, I am flabbergasted, and my worker is frantic. I go with her to get her things from her classroom, and we leave, not bothering to say goodbye to our boss before we left. This was my scariest experience, but there were other small things, like locked doors being found unlocked in the morning, or papers scattered all over the classroom. The school has since been shut down and is being demolished in the future. I can't say I am sad to see it go. Thank you for listening to this story. Please subscribe our channel for more.